SLPs in the school-based setting are not new in the Philippines. In fact, some of our rotations during internship back in 1996 or 1997 involved us working with SLPs who work in special schools. While we basically maintain our role in non-formal education, an important thing we have to remember is that when we enter into school-based practice, we are already called to work more closely in a team of formal educators. Paramount to fulfilling this role is for us to become familiar with the local system of education. This mini lecture presents the essential things that SLPs should know about the K-12 curriculum in the Philippines. As school-based SLPs, our ultimate goal for inclusion is to set our sights on the aims of the state's Department of Education. This applies to the academic and vocational preparation of the country's future workforce. The way we assess and formulate our treatment plans should be anchored to goals that are essentially aligned to the aims of the bigger system. They are as follows. First is to master basic competencies that provide the foundation for fulfilling personal, social, and civic responsibilities. These foundations include developing an understanding of concepts in subjects like science, math, social studies, and English, and even Filipino, because English and Filipino are the two official language of the country. These subjects basically form the core of academics in schools. Beyond academics, the state also aims to develop individuals that could manage themselves with emotional maturity and social awareness. Educational institutions are tasked to provide students with opportunities to practice how it is to become proactively engaged in community affairs. Hence, academic mastery, emotional maturity, and social awareness appear to be tagged as the key ingredients for success in finding employment, in managing a business, or in pursuing lifelong learning. As we move along the bulleted list of the aims of K-12, as shown on the slide, we realize how the objectives of the state move towards developing not just individuals, but citizens who can competently contribute to a healthy socio-economic climate in the country. In order to achieve these aims, the Department of Education has defined content standards and performance standards that a student needs to achieve at every grade level. Content standards pertain to what the students are expected to know, what they should be able to do with what they know, and the meanings or understandings that they construct from these ideas. Essentially, when we talk about content standards, it pertains to the student's ability to gather information, to integrate and organize these information, and to creatively build more knowledge constructs which they can explain down to a science. Now, all forms of sciences are anchored to the ultimate purpose of being translated into technology. That is, technology which is usable for solving personal, socioeconomic, or civic problems. As such, the state also defined performance standards that students are expected to achieve for each grade level. Performance standards define proficiency levels in terms of first, the use of knowledge in real life situations, which we also call transfers, and also on the basis of performing tasks independently. Competence and performance standards, in turn, define grade level expectations in terms of language and literacy. From kindergarten to third grade level to grade 3, um, foundations are first being built in using the child's first language. However, it is important to note that the Philippines has a bilingual education policy which aims for the achievement of competence in both Filipino and English. Following the worldwide movement in the use of the mother tongue for instruction, however, the Department of Education instituted the MTB-MLE policy in 2009. MTB-MLE stands for Mother Tongue-Based Multilingual Education, which encourages teachers to build foundational knowledge through delivering instructions in the child's primary language. From the 4th to the 10th grades, second languages are then encouraged to be taught. In the context of the Philippines, children are said to lean more towards being multilingual rather than bilingual. Here is where children are likely to be able to communicate not only using Filipino and English, but also one or more other dialects found in the country. In terms of vocabulary, children are exposed more to Tier 1 words during the first half of primary education. That is from grades 1 to 3. By the time that they are in grade 4, they are already being exposed to Tier 2 words. And Tier 3 words are introduced as soon as the child steps up to junior high school. Throughout kindergarten to junior high school, children are expected to have reached communication mastery across the 4 macro skills of listening, reading, speaking, and writing. By the time they reach senior high school, the focus shifts already to these applications of the foundational skills into more discipline-specific activities. Depending on the student's aptitude, he could be placed in higher education programs following any track that he chooses to be. Tracks such as the academic track, the technical, vocational, and livelihood track, the sports track, or the arts and design track. Given this information, one can see how assessment and intervention experience a shift once an SLP becomes a team player in the formal education sector. We can no longer be too focused on human developmental milestones as published in books. Instead, we work with the school, and the school works with the state in ensuring that programs are written with both local and global citizenship in mind.